10 proven passive income streams that transformed my life. But wait, money doesn't grow on trees. Money is the root of all evil. Making money is hard. Sound familiar? We've all heard these toxic money myths since childhood. And let me tell you something, it's complete BS. These limiting beliefs are exactly what keep most people stuck in the rat race while the wealthy keep getting wealthier. I used to believe all these myths too. But once I broke free from this mindset, everything changed. In this video, I'll reveal 10 proven passive income streams that transformed me from a stressed out pharmacist to making over $6,500 per day. Whether you're living paycheck to paycheck or already have some savings, I'm about to show you exactly how you can start building passive income streams too, no matter where you're starting from. Let me share my journey with dividend investing. It's been quite the ride. When I first started, I was just like many others, glued to my phone and chasing those flashy high-yield stocks. I remember finding this one that promised a 12% dividend yield. Seemed like striking gold, right? Well, that dream crumbled pretty quickly when they slashed their dividend and the stock took a nosedive. But you know what? That failure taught me something invaluable. I started looking into companies with real staying power. Think Johnson & Johnson, Coca-Cola, and Procter & Gamble. These aren't just random picks. They've been consistently paying dividends for decades. Want to hear something mind-blowing? A $10,000 investment in Johnson & Johnson from 30 years ago with reinvested dividends would be worth over $300,000 today. That's the magic of letting your money work for you. Here's what I've learned about building a solid dividend strategy. First, focus on those dividend aristocrats. Companies that have increased their dividends for at least 25 straight years. I look for yields between 2 and 4%. Anything much higher than that usually means there's trouble brewing. You want companies with rock solid balance sheets and steady cash flow. I've organized my portfolio into 3 main groups. About 60% goes into those tried and true dividend aristocrats. Then I put 30% into companies that might pay less now, but are growing their dividends faster. The last 10% I save for higher yield investments like REITs, but I'm super careful with these. Let me share a real example from my own experience. I put $50,000 into dividend stocks 5 years ago. Started off getting about $1,500 a year in dividends. Now, those same investments are paying me $2,800 annually. Plus, the original investment has grown significantly. And that's because I stuck to companies that regularly increased their dividends and always reinvested every payment. Here's a pro tip I wish someone had told me earlier. If you're just starting out, consider beginning with a dividend ETF like SCHD or VYM. They give you instant diversification while you learn the ropes. I still keep about 30% of my portfolio in these ETFs. They're like the backbone of my investment strategy. And don't forget about taxes. Keep those dividend-paying stocks in tax-advantaged accounts when you can, especially the ones paying higher yields. Trust me, tax bills can take a big bite out of your returns if you're not careful. Remember, dividend investing isn't a get-rich-quick scheme. It's about building something sustainable that grows stronger year after year. Each dividend payment is like adding another brick to your financial freedom fortress. The key, start early and stay consistent. The tortoise really does win this race. But wait until you hear how I turned a $50,000 loan into a 12% return. Before we dive in, smash that like button and subscribe if you want more content about building real wealth. Let's get started with number 9. Let me tell you about my journey into private lending. It's quite a story. I actually learned about this from my mentor, George. Now, I'll be honest, I paid $20,000 for his mentorship program. And while it wasn't exactly what I expected, now that's a tale that still makes me chuckle, it did open my eyes to the world of private lending. Think about it this way. Instead of letting your money gather dust in a savings account, earning pennies, you essentially become the bank yourself. I remember my first deal like it was yesterday. I lent $50,000 to a real estate investor who needed quick capital for a fix and flip project, earning 12% interest. The property itself served as collateral, which seemed bulletproof at the time. But here's where the story takes a turn. And trust me, this was an expensive lesson I'll never forget. The borrower looked perfect on paper. Stellar credit score, impressive track record, all the right references. 6 months into the deal, the payment suddenly stopped. Getting my money back turned into this whole legal ordeal that taught me more about due diligence than any course ever could. Through that experience and several others, I've developed what I call my bulletproof system. First and foremost, I always get the property as collateral, no exceptions. But here's the key that most people miss. I never lend more than 65% of the after repair value. Why 65%? Because if things go south, you need that cushion to cover legal fees, potential repairs, and still walk away with your principal. But there's more to it than just the numbers. I've learned to dig deep into the borrower's history. I'm talking 3 solid years of their track record. You'd be amazed at what you can uncover when you really start digging. I once found out a potential borrower had 3 failed flips that didn't show up in their initial presentation. And here's something I wished I had known from the start. Always, and I mean always, have a lawyer review every deal. Yes, it costs money up front, but it's nothing compared to what you might lose without proper legal protection. I work with a lawyer who specializes in real estate lending, and he's caught several issues that could have turned into total disasters. Let me share a recent success story. I lent $75,000 to an experienced flipper for a property worth $180,000 after repairs. The loan was for 6 months at 10% interest, plus 2 points up front. Not only did they complete the project ahead of schedule, but I've now done 3 more deals with him. That's the power of building relationships with reliable borrowers. Another tip I've learned, diversify your lending portfolio. Don't put all your eggs in one basket with a single borrower or property type. I now spread my loans across different types of projects, some fix and flip, some rental property acquisitions, and even some small commercial projects. One aspect that often gets overlooked is the importance of networking in this space. Join local real estate investment groups, attend property auctions, and build relationships with real estate agents. Some of my best lending opportunities have come through these connections. The key to success in private lending isn't just about the interest rate. It's about understanding the real estate market in your area, knowing how to properly value properties, and building a network of reliable professionals. Start small, learn from each deal, and gradually scale up as you gain confidence and experience. Remember, private lending can be incredibly rewarding, but it's not passive income, at least not at first. You need to be actively involved in due diligence, document review, and monitoring your investments. But once you have your system in place, it can become a reliable source of double-digit returns with manageable risk. Speaking of mistakes that cost me thousands, my first attempt at day trading was a wake-up call. Let me tell you about my adventures in the stock market. And trust me, adventures is putting it mildly. I still remember my first attempt at day trading like it was yesterday. Picture this. I'm in my pharmacy break room, feeling like I'm Leonardo DiCaprio in Wolf of Wall Street because I just made a quick $500 on some random tech stock. Man, was I feeling invincible. Well, the market has a way of humbling you. 2 days later, I lost $3,000 trying to chase that same high. Talk about a reality check. But here's what really opened my eyes, and this still blows my mind. Over the last 3 decades, the average mutual fund investor has earned just 3.66% annually. Think about that for a second. After inflation, that's barely moving forward. It's like running on a treadmill thinking you're getting somewhere, but you're basically standing still. The turning point for me came when I learned about Warren Buffett's famous 1 million bet. See, Buffett challenged a group of hotshot hedge fund managers, betting that a simple S&P 500 index fund would outperform their fancy, complex strategies over 10 years. Spoiler alert. Buffett won, and it wasn't even close. That really made me rethink everything I thought I knew about investing. These days, my approach is completely different. Instead of trying to pick winning stocks, which, let's be honest, I was absolutely terrible at, I've built what I call my sleep well at night strategy. Every month, like clockwork, I automatically invest a set amount into low-cost index funds. It's not sexy, but it works. Let me share something that most people don't talk about. The psychological aspect of investing. When I was day trading, I was constantly stressed, checking my phone every 5 minutes, losing sleep. Now, I actually look forward to market dips because I know I'm buying more shares at a discount through dollar cost averaging. Here's a real example from my own experience. During the March 2020 market crash, while everyone was panicking, I stuck to my automated investment plan. Those investments made during the dip turned out to be some of my best performing ones ever. Not because I was smart enough to time the bottom, I wasn't, but because I stayed consistent when others were fearful. One thing that really gets under my skin is how little attention people pay to investment fees. Let me tell you about what I discovered in my old 401k plan. I was paying nearly 1.5% in fees annually. Doesn't sound like much, right? Well, when I ran the numbers, those fees would have eaten up almost 28% of my returns over 35 years. That's why I now obsessively check fee structures and stick to low-cost index funds whenever possible. Here's another pro tip I learned the hard way. If your employer offers a 401k match, grab it. It's literally free money, but don't just stop there. Look into whether your plan offers low-cost index funds. If it doesn't, consider contributing just enough to get the match. Then opening an IRA where you have more control over your investment choices. I've also learned to embrace market volatility instead of fearing it. Think about it this way. When the market drops, you're essentially getting shares on sale. I actually increased my automated investments during recent market downturns. It wasn't easy emotionally, but mathematically, it made perfect sense. The key to success in the stock market isn't about finding the next Amazon or timing the perfect entry point. It's about consistency, keeping your costs low, and staying in the game for the long haul. Every month, my index funds might not make exciting dinner party conversation, but they're steadily building wealth while I focus on living my life. And here's something I wish someone had told me earlier. Your investment strategy should match your lifestyle and personality. If checking stock prices makes you anxious, or if you're tempted to make emotional decisions, automation is your best friend. Set it up once, then let it run while you focus on what you're actually good at. Remember, investing in the stock market is a marathon, not a sprint. The goal isn't to get rich quickly. It's to not be poor in retirement. Keep it simple, stay consistent, and let time do the heavy lifting for you. If you think the stock market is wild, wait until you hear how I found profit in crypto without gambling. Let me tell you about my journey with crypto. And I promise this isn't going to be another to the moon speech. You know, when I first got into this space, I was fascinated by how it resembled the California gold rush. But here's the interesting part. During that historic period, it wasn't actually the miners who built lasting wealth. It was the clever folks selling picks, shovels, and supplies who really struck gold. That observation completely changed how I approach crypto investing. Instead of trying to predict which coin would skyrocket next, I started looking for businesses that provide essential services to the crypto industry. I'll give you a real example. I invested in a company that provides secure storage solutions for digital assets. Think of it like a high-tech bank vault for crypto. While Bitcoin was doing its roller coaster thing, this company was steadily making money from storage fees, just like a traditional bank makes money from safe deposit boxes. Here's something most people don't realize about crypto investing. There are actually ways to generate steady income from it. I'm not talking about buying and hoping the price goes up. For instance, through staking certain cryptocurrencies, you can earn regular returns similar to interest. But, and this is crucial, you need to understand the technology and risks involved. I learned this the hard way when I first tried staking on a platform that turned out to be less than reputable. I've developed what I call my sleep at night crypto strategy. First rule, I never put more than 5% of my portfolio into crypto. Why 5%? Because that's an amount I could lose entirely without derailing my financial goals. It's enough to capture significant upside if things go well, but not so much that it would devastate me if things go south. Let me share a personal lesson that cost me some money, but taught me volumes. Early in my crypto journey, I got caught up in the hype of a new project promising revolutionary technology. The white paper looked impressive, though honestly, I barely understood half of it. And the team seemed legit. I invested more than I should have, and well, let's just say that project is now worth about as much as a cup of coffee. That experience taught me to stick to established projects with real utility and active development. Security is another aspect that I take extremely seriously. After hearing horror stories of exchange hacks and lost keys, I invested in a high-quality hardware wallet, a cold storage device that keeps my crypto offline and secure. Yes, it cost me a few $100s, but that's a small price to pay for a peace of mind when you're dealing with digital assets. Here's an interesting perspective I've gained. The real value in the crypto space often lies in the infrastructure being built, not necessarily in the tokens themselves. It's like investing in internet companies in the 1990s. While many individual companies failed, the underlying technology transformed our world. That's why I pay close attention to projects developing real-world applications and solutions. One strategy I've found particularly effective is dollar cost averaging into established cryptocurrencies. Instead of trying to time the market, which is even more impossible with crypto than with traditional markets, I invest a fixed amount monthly. This approach has helped me avoid the emotional roller coaster of crypto's extreme volatility. The key to success in crypto investing isn't about catching the next big moonshot. It's about taking a measured, strategic approach to an emerging asset class. Think of it as venture capital investing for the digital age. Expect many failures, manage your risk accordingly, and focus on projects solving real problems. Remember, the crypto space is still in its early stages. While the technology is fascinating and the potential is enormous, it's crucial to approach it with a clear head and strict risk management. Never invest money you can't afford to lose, and always do your own research. The best opportunities I found weren't from following the crowd. They came from understanding the technology and identifying real utility in the crypto ecosystem. Now, while crypto is making headlines, I also discovered an even more interesting way to build wealth. Let me share my experience with YouTube. Though I'll be completely honest, my channel is still small and not yet monetized. When I first started, my videos were, well, they're now buried deep in my private archive, never to see that light of day again. And trust me, there's a good reason for that. My lighting was terrible, my audio was worse, and my editing made PowerPoint look sophisticated. I'm still in the early stages, consistently uploading and learning from bigger creators who've made it work. Take Stephan, for example. He started making real estate videos from his apartment, and now his old videos still generate thousands of monthly revenue. Or look at Meet Kevin's journey. He turned his real estate knowledge into a massive educational platform. You know what really changed my approach? Watching how successful finance YouTubers like Ali Abdaal and Nate O'Brien focus on providing genuine value rather than chasing perfection. I've noticed their most popular videos aren't necessarily the ones with the best production. They're the ones that solve real problems. While I'm not yet earning from my channel, I've learned a lot about what works by studying these successful creators. They built diverse revenue streams, from ad revenue and affiliate partnerships to courses and sponsored content. Take MKBHD, Marcus Brownlee, for instance. He started in his dorm room and now runs a full production company. But his early focus was simply on helping people understand technology better. Here's what I've learned about growing a channel by studying these successful creators. Consistency is absolutely crucial. Even massive channels like Mark Tilbury started with simple videos about personal finance posted regularly. The key isn't having the fanciest equipment or perfect delivery. It's showing up consistently with useful content. Community engagement has been eye-opening too. I may only have a small following now, but I make sure to respond to every comment and use that feedback to create better content. I've noticed that is exactly how bigger creators like Minority Mindset built their loyal audiences, by genuinely engaging with their community from the start. One valuable lesson I've learned from watching successful finance YouTubers: don't try to appeal to everyone. Look at Joseph Carlson. He focused specifically on dividend investing content when he started, and that clarity of purpose helped him build a dedicated following. While I'm still working toward monetization, I'm treating my channel like a business from day one, just like these successful creators did. I track my metrics, study what works for others in my niche, and focus on creating content that actually helps people. The journey is definitely humbling. I'm nowhere near the success of these bigger creators yet, but by studying their paths and staying consistent with my own content, I'm learning and improving with each video. It's not about overnight success. It's about building something valuable over time, one video at a time. Remember, even the biggest finance YouTubers started exactly where I am now, with 0 subscribers and unmonetized channels. What set them apart was their persistence and focus on providing real value to their audience. That's the path I'm following, one small step at a time. Creating content is great, but what I discovered next changed everything. Let me tell you about the incredible world of digital products. And trust me, they're beautiful because you create them once and can sell them forever. But first, I need to share a painful lesson I learned the hard way. Picture this. I spent 3 entire months creating what I thought would be the perfect online course about pharmacy career transitions. I was so excited about it, putting in late nights and perfecting every detail. Want to know how many I sold? 0. Absolutely 0. Why? Because I made the classic mistake of creating the product first and then trying to find buyers. But let me share some stories of people who are absolutely crushing it in this space. They'll show you how it's really done. Take James, a former elementary school teacher. He noticed other teachers struggling with classroom management and curriculum planning. But here's where he was smart. Instead of diving straight into creating some massive course, he started small with a simple $27 template pack for lesson planning. After proving people actually wanted this, he expanded into a full classroom management system that now brings in over $15,000 monthly. His secret sauce? He solved a specific problem for a specific audience. Or consider Mike, a fitness trainer who took a really interesting approach. Instead of creating yet another workout program, because let's face it, there are thousands of those, he developed Excel spreadsheets for meal planning and workout tracking. He started with a $37 product that grew into a whole suite of digital tools, now generating more than $25,000 monthly. He focused on something most fitness programs overlook: the organization and tracking aspect. Here's another fascinating story. Tom, who went through a tough divorce and turned his experience into something powerful. He created templates for organizing divorce proceedings, co-parenting schedules, and financial planning during separation. His digital products now bring in over $20,000 monthly because he addressed a really painful problem with practical solutions. Look at Alex, a former accountant who understood that small business owners needed something between basic spreadsheets and expensive software. He started small with a $37 Excel template for bookkeeping, but now his complete suite of financial tools generates more than $30,000 monthly. The key to his success? He filled that perfect middle ground that so many small businesses were desperately looking for. One of my favorite success stories is about Ryan, a graphic designer who created Canva templates for real estate agents. He started with just a $47 social media template pack, but after listening to his customers and understanding what they really needed, he expanded it into a complete marketing toolkit with everything from social media templates to property listing presentations and virtual tour materials. Now he's bringing in over $40,000 monthly from these digital products alone. And then there's Chris, who created a wedding planning template bundle. The beautiful thing about his business is that it generates around $12,000 monthly while he sleeps. But here's what makes him successful. He's constantly updating his products based on what his customers tell him they need. Let me share a pro tip I've learned from studying all these successful creators. Start small with what I call a pilot product, priced under $50. Use the feedback and testimonials from this to create your premium offering. It's like having a paid focus group that helps you build exactly what the market wants. The most fascinating thing about all of these success stories, these guys aren't just selling products. They're solving real problems. They're building communities around their solutions and constantly evolving based on what their customers need. And that's really the secret sauce to creating successful digital products. Remember, the goal isn't to create something perfect right out of the gate. It's to create something helpful and then make it better based on real feedback from real customers. That's how you build something that lasts and grows over time. Those digital products have true potential in becoming amazing. But here's another method on how I multiplied my returns by thinking bigger. Let me tell you about diving into the bigger leagues of business investing. Though, don't worry, you don't need to be a millionaire to get started. I always think about my friend Austin's story. He started with just one painting crew, but by developing solid systems and processes, he grew to managing 10 crews across Dallas-Fort Worth. That's exactly the kind of business you want to invest in, one that has proven it can scale. I'll share my own first experience with this. I took $25,000, which felt like a huge amount at the time, and invested it in a local business that was ready to expand but needed capital. The owner had already built a solid system that was working well, but just couldn't fund the growth himself. And here's the exciting part. Within 18 months, that investment turned into $45,000. Plus, I still kept my equity stake in the business. When I look at business investments now, I always check for a few critical things. Is the business model already proven? Does it have a strong team running it? Can their systems handle growth? And importantly, how can I eventually exit the investment? Oh, and let me tell you, I learned one lesson the hard way with a senior living facility investment I made. And trust me on this one, never ever invest in a business you don't fully understand. That was an expensive lesson I won't forget. But there is another opportunity hiding in plain sight that requires zero startup capital. Let me tell you about print on demand. It's basically like running your own clothing brand without drowning in inventory. You just create the designs and someone else handles all the messy stuff like printing and shipping. Pretty cool, right? I'll share my own journey with this. I started making some phone case designs with pharmacy humor. And yes, that's actually a thing. My first month was pretty humble. We're talking about $50 in sales, but then I noticed something interesting. There were these specific niches in pharmacy that nobody was really serving. So I pivoted and started creating designs specifically for different pharmacy specializations. That's when things really took off. Suddenly, I was hitting $2,000 in monthly sales. Here's what really made it work. I started small, testing different designs to see what people actually wanted. I spread my designs across multiple platforms, not putting all my eggs in one basket. The real key was focusing on building an actual brand, not just throwing random designs out there hoping something would stick. The best part, I didn't have to spend a dime up front on inventory. Though, I've got to be honest, the biggest challenge is standing out in what's become a pretty crowded market. Everyone and their cousin seems to be doing print on demand these days. Let's jump into number 2, one of my all-time favorites. Oh, real estate, my old friend. And yeah, despite that whole situation with my dad and the property in Oklahoma, if you know, real estate is still one of the most reliable paths to building wealth I've found. Actually, that whole story is in my book, Middle Class Mindset Escape Plan. And I will leave a free download link in the information below if you want to learn more about escaping the rat race. But anyway, let me tell you about my start in this game. My first rental property, it barely broke even. But now I've got several properties generating consistent passive income. Though I've got to share my first major real estate blunder. It's quite the story. Picture this, I bought my first rental property thinking I'd be this super hands-on landlord. Cut costs, maximize profits. Sounds smart, right? Wrong. Remember that carpet story? Well, also my book if you don't. I spent an entire 8.5 hours installing carpet myself, even canceling a crucial business meeting that could have made me thousands. Talk about a painful lesson in opportunity cost. These days, I do things very differently. I stick to single-family homes. They're easier to manage and rent, and I always use property managers because my time is better spent finding the next deal. And here's something crucial. I focus on cash flow, not just hoping the property will appreciate. You need systems for everything and always keep healthy reserves for those unexpected surprises. Let me share my best deal so far. I found this house for $120,000 that needed about $15,000 in updates. Nothing major, just smart improvements that boosted the value. After the work was done, it appraised for $180,000 and now brings in $1,800 monthly in rent. That's what I call forcing appreciation through simple improvements. Those are the kinds of deals you want to look for. Now, I could talk about real estate all day, trust me. I've got plenty more stories about crazy tenants and late night emergencies. But if you want to dive deeper into real estate investing, check out some of my other videos specifically about real estate. For now, though, let me share something even more interesting that completely changed my approach to building wealth and prepared me for what would become my biggest breakthrough yet. Now, for my absolute favorite, the one that actually transformed me from a stressed out pharmacist to making over $6,500 per day. But don't worry, I'm not going to give you the usual spiel about affiliate marketing. This is a story about solving real problems and genuinely changing lives. Picture this, I was working in retail pharmacy making what seemed like a great salary, about $140,000 a year, but still drowning in debt. And one day, while dispensing medications as usual, I noticed something fascinating about pharmacy discount cards. These cards were helping uninsured patients save serious money on their prescriptions, and pharmacies were actually paying for customer acquisition. That's when everything clicked. Instead of just being another pharmacist helping people out with these cards, I realized I could be the person getting them into people's hands nationwide. But here's what most people get completely wrong about affiliate marketing. They think it's just about plastering links everywhere and praying for sales. Let me share what really made this work. When I started small, distributing pharmacy discount cards to local doctor's offices. Oh, and that reminds me, there was actually a $2,500 network marketing program I mentioned in my book that goes into much more detail on how all of this came about. But despite being mostly a disappointment, it taught me the basics of Facebook advertising, which turned out to be crucial. I applied those skills to scaling my discount card distribution. And before I knew it, I had hundreds of referral affiliates working under me. But here's where the story gets really interesting. I didn't stop at being just an affiliate. After learning the ins and outs of the business, I created New Lifespan RX, my own discount card company. This meant instead of earning a small piece of each transaction, I now controlled the entire affiliate network. Talk about a game changer. The most incredible part, this system runs completely on autopilot. While I'm sleeping, people are using these cards at pharmacies across the country, and money is being deposited into my account. Last month alone, we processed over 300,000 transactions automatically. It's mind-blowing to think about how many people we're helping while building wealth at the same time. I've learned that successful affiliate marketing isn't about pushing products. It's about being a trusted connector. You need to find genuine problems that people need solved. Identify the best solutions, and then position yourself as the bridge between them. For me, it was connecting uninsured patients with affordable medications. But this principle works in any niche. The key is building systems that scale. I spent months creating detailed processes for everything from onboarding new affiliates to managing customer support. Yes, it was a lot of work up front, but now these systems run like clockwork. One thing I wish someone had told me earlier, focus on products with reoccurring commissions. That's what really creates sustainable income. And always verify the demand before diving in. I've seen too many people promote products nobody wants just because they offer high commissions. Remember, success in affiliate marketing isn't about having the fanciest website or the biggest advertising budget. It's about genuinely understanding your audience's problems and connecting them with real solutions. That's what builds long-term success and changes lives, including your own. Remember that middle-class mindset we talked about at the beginning? That one that says, money is hard to make? Affiliate marketing proved to me that it's possible to make money while serving others. You're not selling, you're solving problems. And hey, speaking of affiliate marketing, here's another video that YouTube will probably recommend for you, so please check it out. There you have it, 10 legitimate ways to build passive income with affiliate marketing being the crown jewel. Remember, it's not about getting rich quick. It's about building sustainable wealth that serves others.